The grocery store was buzzing with its usual Friday evening crowd. Bright fluorescent lights flickered above the checkout counters, carts squeaked as customers shuffled forward, and the smell of freshly baked bread from the bakery section lingered in the air. But in the middle of this ordinary chaos, something extraordinary was about to happen, something that would change lives forever. At the far end of the checkout line stood a young mother, her clothes worn and faded, her hair pulled back into a messy bun. She held her baby boy close to her chest, bouncing him gently to keep him calm. His tiny whimpers were growing louder, the kind of desperate cries only a hungry child makes. In her shopping basket, there wasn't much, just a small packet of rice, a loaf of bread, and a single bottle of baby milk formula. When it was her turn at the register, the cashier rang up the items. The young mother fumbled nervously through her purse, pulling out a few crumpled bills and a handful of coins. Her eyes darted between the screen showing the total and the money in her hand. Her heart sank. She was short. The baby wailed louder, and the woman's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. The line behind her grew restless, people sighing impatiently, some tapping their feet. With trembling hands, she picked up the formula, the one thing her baby needed the most, and placed it aside. Her lips quivered as she whispered, almost to herself, "I'll have to come back for it. I'm sorry, baby." Little did she know, someone had been watching her closely from a few feet away. At the other end of the aisle stood a man in an expensive tailored suit, his polished shoes reflecting the bright store lights. He had just come from a business meeting and had stopped in to grab a bottle of water on his way home. His face was familiar to many, though few recognized him at that moment. He was Daniel Grant, a self-made millionaire known for his luxury hotels and philanthropic foundations. But to Daniel, this wasn't just another evening. He couldn't take his eyes off the young mother. The sight of her giving up her baby's milk tore at his chest. Memories he had buried deep inside came rushing back, memories of his own mother, standing in grocery lines just like this, sacrificing meals so he could eat. He remembered her returning cans of soup because she couldn't afford them, remembered her tears when she thought he wasn't looking. Daniel's throat tightened. He knew that pain, he knew that hunger. And he knew he couldn't just stand there. As the cashier handed the mother her small bag of groceries, Daniel stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said softly. The woman turned, startled, her eyes red from holding back tears. "I think you forgot something." He picked up the can of formula from the counter and gently placed it in her bag. The mother's face flushed with shock. "Oh, no, sir, I can't." But Daniel shook his head firmly. "You don't need to explain. I've been where you are. Let me help." He pulled out his credit card and handed it to the cashier. "Ring up everything she needs. And add another 2 of those baby formulas." The mother froze, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. Her baby reached out a tiny hand, brushing Daniel's suit sleeve as if sensing the kindness flowing through him. The cashier quickly processed the payment, and Daniel helped pack the bags. But he wasn't done. "Do you live nearby?" he asked gently. The woman hesitated, unsure if she should trust him. Something about his eyes, kind, steady, and familiar with hardship, made her nod. "Yes," she whispered. "A small apartment, just around the corner." Daniel walked with her, carrying the bags while she cradled her baby. Along the way, she told him her name was Emily. Her husband had left months ago, and she was doing her best, working odd jobs while trying to care for her son. Every day felt like a mountain she had to climb barefoot. When they reached her building, Daniel saw the cracked walls, the broken steps, the peeling paint. He helped her carry the groceries inside, where a single dim bulb lit the modest room. There was little furniture, but it was tidy, filled with warmth despite its emptiness. Emily placed the baby down gently, feeding him the formula Daniel had bought. The little boy's cries turned into soft gulps, then quiet sighs. Watching him finally drink in peace, Daniel felt something stir deep within him. He turned to Emily. "You remind me of my mother," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "She raised me alone. We struggled, but she taught me never to give up. If it weren't for her sacrifices, I wouldn't be who I am today." Emily looked at him curiously. Who are you?" Daniel smiled humbly. "Just someone who believes no mother should ever have to choose between food and her child's hunger." The next morning, Emily woke up to a knock on her door. When she opened it, she gasped. A delivery man stood there with boxes of groceries, baby supplies, and diapers, enough to last for months. But that wasn't all. A letter was tucked inside one of the boxes. With trembling hands, she unfolded it. Dear Emily, I know life feels heavy right now, but please remember, you are not alone. I've arranged for your rent to be covered for the next year, and I've connected you with one of my foundations that helps single mothers find steady jobs. You deserve a chance to breathe, to dream again, and to give your son the future he deserves. Never lose hope. Daniel. Tears streamed down Emily's face as she clutched the letter. Her baby cooed happily in her arms, unaware of the miracle that had just changed their lives. Weeks later, Emily found herself working at one of Daniel's community programs, where she helped other mothers going through the same struggles. She grew stronger, more confident, and slowly began rebuilding her life. Every night, as she tucked her son into bed, she whispered a silent prayer of gratitude for the stranger who had seen her pain and turned it into hope. And Daniel, he never spoke of it publicly. He didn't need the world to know what he had done. For him, the reward was simple, the knowledge that he had broken the cycle of despair for one mother, just as someone had once helped him. Sometimes, the greatest miracles don't happen in grand gestures or headlines. They happen in quiet grocery store lines, when one human heart chooses to see another, and decides to act.